Get your loosey gooseys out. Get your loosey gooseys out.
Too tired to be loosey goosey.
You're dying? Okay. All right, so ready?
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 2 of Shaken Not Scared podcast. This is Eric.
This is Vivi.
And we'll be covering Friday the 13th this time. The one from 1980, directed by Sean S. Cunningham.
There's how many? Friday the 13th? It's
11. I think there's 11.
I think it's one of the biggest franchises in horror movies, right?
Yeah.
With the most running sequels.
Yeah, I just saw when I was looking up fun facts about this movie, the director is like, man, I never thought this would go so far. Apparently he doesn't even like a lot of the other ones that came out.
I mean, okay, I think I've only seen the first one.
Yeah.
We saw it a couple years ago when we first decided to watch all the classics. And it was not what I expected. I thought it was going to be those more modern ones.
Yeah. Yeah, you immediately think that Jason
dude
is
with the
one.
mask.
Yeah.
Just comes out.
You had to remind me a couple times that the end is this
completely
way.
Different.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, even in the promo we were looking at the art for the poster or whatever, and it was the mask isn't even introduced.
No.
At this point. So what we'll try to do on this episode, I think, is try to just, unlike with the first episode where I kept talking about what happens later on with Michael, we'll try to pretend that we don't know how this all ends up. We'll talk about it as if we had just seen it for the first time.
I mean, we can say we have a plan, but we'll see how things go out.
Yeah.
Do I talk about the drink I made today?
Yeah. What you got for me?
Okay, so today I made adult bug juice. My thought process was camping at camp. I've never been to camp, sleepaway, or anything like that. So
you've never been to sleepaway camp?
No.
I don't think you should.
That's a whole nother story. But yeah, I thought bug juice is apparently a thing that people drink at camp. So I made adult bug juice. I looked up the recipe later because I came up with one, and there is apparently an actual, probably better than this drink called bug juice. But I used vodka again because I know you love vodka. Okay, so essentially what's in it is green apple Kool-Aid, which is such a potent smell. It smells way stronger than it actually tastes.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought I was going to hate it just from how it smelled, but it looks visibly...
It looks violently green.
It looks like an alien.
Yeah. So, green apple Kool-Aid, an ounce of mint, simple syrup, an ounce of apple pucker just to add more flavor to it. And then I just shook that, topped it with, and an ounce and a half of vodka. Don't forget your alcohol.
There's alcohol in this?
I know, it just looks like juice.
You didn't taste any of it either.
You don't. I'd top it with club soda to make it a little less sweet and put some mint in it. So go ahead and try it.
Okay.
Tell me what you think.
You already tried it?
I did try it already.
I think you had a whole one already, right?
Yeah, I made a practice run before doing this.
She drank it while we were watching the movie. It definitely tastes like Kool-Aid. You don't taste the vodka at all, though. And again, it tastes a lot less sweet than it smells. But the minty part is pretty good. The apple is prominent.
Yeah.
That's also because you use apple pucker.
Pucker,
right?
yeah. To me, it tastes like if somebody took a Jolly Rancher, a green apple Jolly Rancher, and diffused it.
Yeah.
And made a drink with it, which is a thing. Which you diffuse Jolly Ranchers in vodkas. I never had it before, but I imagine that's what this tastes like.
You know what else it tastes like? It tastes like those popsicle alcoholic things you can get at Costco.
Yeah, those we call them bolis. I don't know what they're actually called.
Popsicles. They're the long, skinny ones,
Yeah, but what was I gonna say about this drink? I don't love it. So I made
you
it
like
up.
sweet stuff.
It tastes like a drink that you get when you first turn 21 and you start drinking.
That's for
and you
sure.
don't like the taste of alcohol.
Actually, you're right. Yeah, so I went to New Orleans back in 2013, and these kind of taste like hand grenades. And those are green. And those are green, yeah. I mean, it's been a long time. It's been 8 years? So, I mean, it's kind of like what I remember it tasting like, yeah. And those were always self-proclaimed the strongest drinks in the world, but
I think it's just because you don't taste the alcohol and you don't realize how messed up you're getting. Mm-hmm. But I would give it a 2.5 out of 5.
Out of 5? I'd give it a 1.75.
Wow,
just because I don't like
very specific.
I don't like sweet stuff.
I did bring this up earlier, but I think to get you involved in the drink side of things,
Yeah.
We're going to switch it up a little bit, and I'm actually going to have you go find a beer that's related to the movie we're going to watch next.
Okay. I don't promise it'll be good.
That's fine, and part of it's trying something new.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll figure it out.
Exciting. That way I don't have to come up with something next time either.
Yeah. The next movie is Nightmare on Elm Street.
I believe so.
Sure, it'll be like something dreamy.
Yeah, something with dream in it, something with...
Sleep.
Just get some sleepy time tea.
Yeah. No alcohol. Maybe a little vodka. All right, so that's the cocktail. So I hope you guys enjoy that and give it a sip while you listen to us. Do you want to give an overview of the movie?
Sure.
What does Wikipedia say about this? Or we're not using Wikipedia this time.
Is it Wikipedia? I think it's still Wikipedia. But just a quick overview in case you haven't watched this classic movie. Crystal Lake's history of murder doesn't deter counselors from setting up a summer camp in the woodsy area. Superstitious locals warn against it, but the fresh-faced young Jack, Alice, Bill, Marcy, and Ned pay little heed to the old-timers. Then they find themselves stalked by a brutal killer. As they're slashed, shot, and stabbed, the counselors struggle to stay alive against a merciless opponent.
A purseless opponent.
A purseless. Yes, that. Well, that kind of gives away all the movie. But yeah, do you want to give me some fun facts that I don't know?
Yeah, so one fun one is that Tom Savini worked on the prosthetics on this movie, and he's pretty iconic. He's done a lot of other work. He did
probably most of the work in the 80s horror genre.
I was looking stuff up too, and it sounds like he did From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, his vampires in there are like really gross.
Yeah. So, but the fun fact isn't even that he was the one who worked on the prosthetics. Apparently, he had to bake some of his prosthetics because the latex material wasn't getting the texture he was looking for. So what he did was, because they were filming at an actual camp, he used the ovens, like the pizza ovens that were there already, and like used that to bake the prosthetics while on site.
Seems efficient, but also
gross,
disgusting. What if like the next time you make pizza, they taste like prosthetics?
Yeah. Or it's just funny to think that human flesh looks like something you can bake.
Well, that's a horrifying thought.
Yeah. A second one is, this one's more like behind the scenes. Apparently, Betsy Palmer, who plays Miss Voorhees, and Adrienne King, who plays Alice, the main protagonist at the end, which I guess I'll touch on later. I thought there was a different character who was a protagonist, and it ended up not being her, right? It kind of implies that this one character is the protagonist because it's kind of like the adventures of blah, blah, blah. And she doesn't even make it past like the first 20 minutes.
Spoiler,
yeah.
In case you haven't seen this 40-year-old? How old is this movie?
80, so 41-year-old.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, so apparently Betsy Palmer and Adrienne King, you know how there's that part at the end when like Alice's character is like fending for her life against Miss Voorhees, and they're like fighting, whatever. Apparently she wanted to do like practice run of the fighting and was like, let's practice the slap. Apparently Betsy Palmer actually slapped Adrienne King and like made her cry.
Oh no.
And they had to tell Betsy Palmer, like, when you do this in film, you have to pretend slap.
So nobody told this actress.
For real slap.
So you're not actually supposed to beat the shit out of someone.
Yeah, well, apparently she was used to doing theater. So in theater, you actually
do actual slaps.
And yeah.
They're like, that's not how we do things.
Take that somewhere else.
Well, that's kind of sad for the other.
Yeah, but apparently, like, it's all in good fun. Like,
obviously, if she didn't know.
Yeah, Adrienne King was like, no, I look up to her, and it's like, there's no bad blood, obviously. So yeah, just fun stuff about how that scene actually was, maybe some of those
actual punches
like
made it into the final cut.
Yeah, they're real. So yeah, those are the two fun facts I've got.
The last one was pretty fun.
Yeah.
The first one was kind of gross.
It's fun for somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, so do you want to touch on the movie now?
Yeah.
Talk it out. I guess this time we can just kind of emphasize different things that stood out to us, right? Kind of like in the way we watched it. The movie kind of doesn't really have like a lot to it other than that there's people going to this camp.
Yeah.
People start getting murdered.
Start getting picked off.
And
then you find out who it is.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
So I know the opening scene is kind of similar to Halloween, where we start with a tragedy and then jump forward to present time.
Yeah, 1958 supposedly. To like
camp counselors are doing it like always and get murdered, which is just the law.
Yeah. And do you actually see, again, spoiler alert, at the end, right?
Who it is?
There's a claim that a kid drowns, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think we see that in the beginning. We just see the murder
No,
of the
I
two
think
counselors.
you only see it towards the end in like flashback.
Yeah.
Unless we did not watch the right movie and we completely missed it.
Or it's the unedited version.
Maybe. But I was going to point out that nothing gets teenagers hotter than wearing the most bland little mini managers' outfits that they have going on for the camp.
Hey, gotta do it in whatever you're wearing, right? I mean, if it's a mask.
I would argue that you gotta do it in whatever you're not wearing.
That's true. And then it looked like they just finished like immediately. Again,
I think they were just getting started. It was implied. And she was like, no, none of this here. Because he was zipping up.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that in a lot of the scenes where the quote-unquote killer approaches, because it's never revealed throughout the movie, you see like the people kind of react to this person, and it's almost like the reactions are like, ooh, hey, what are you doing here? And I'd kind of noted down in the beginning, like, okay, you've got this heavy-breathing person, and again, trying to forget that I know
who it is.
Well, not even that, right? Like, at this point, I completely forgot that at the end, it's mom.
Jason's mother,
But it's not Jason, and so I'm like watching this thinking, okay, so people are just like, okay with this guy in the ski mask, like, just approaching them. But I guess, once you realize it's his mom, it's like everyone's reaction is normal. Who else would react in a negative
I kind of
way?
made a point to that. I guess we can jump ahead. So after all that, camp's planning to reopen in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And Annie is walking around town, trying to get to this camp. Also, way to, like, get a job and not figure out how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
You're just showing up like, where am I? I just signed up for a job.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that in the 80s. Like, you don't have the internet to find out this random camp is looking for people.
But, like, that makes you accept a job there? I don't know where this is, but sure, I'll go work there.
Yeah, this camp's been closed down for, like, 20 years.
Yeah.
So let's go.
So she's, like, asking for directions, and, like, a trucker gives her directions. And she gets, like, a second hitchhiker to pick her up for the other half of the way. And I was watching that scene knowing that the killer is a woman, that the person that picked her up is a woman, and like how it's almost more unsettling that it is a woman that picks her up. Yeah. Because you really really don't expect it. Probably not in a sexist way, but like as a woman, if you get in a car with a woman, you think you're gonna be safe. Yeah. Generally. Yeah, exactly. I think that's where I go with where I'm getting at with the thought that at the end of the day, throughout this whole movie, when there's the scene where the killer is approaching someone and the person's reaction is very like homey almost. It's like, oh hey, like hey, what are you doing here?
Or like, oh, what's going on? Are you lost too? It's like the whole time you're thinking it's a man. Yeah. Right? A man killer.
Because they make her look like one.
Yeah. And you're like, why aren't they feeling like, why are their reactions so innocent almost?
And it's crazy, right? That this movie is the first in this franchise that becomes known for the hockey wearing mask dude. But in the first one, like one of the great slashers is a woman. Yeah. Like one of the classics. It's not even Jason yet. Yeah. And you like totally forget that. Mm-hmm. And I could see why the director is like, I don't love the other adaptations because it's not even that killer in his first film. No. I mean, I guess we could touch on those at some point, but I was even telling you there's like a space one or a future. I can't even remember what Jason X was about. I remember seeing it on the TV all the time, and I was like, there's no way that this is anywhere near what the originals were. I have not seen them. I've only seen this first one. I know it's like on our list to get through eventually, and we need to because where does this come along, like this lore that eventually gets to the iconic slasher. Mm-hmm. But yeah, back to Annie, I guess, hitchhiking across America. This is totally common also at the time. Yeah, everyone's just trusting everybody. One thing I was going to say is that there's also like this reoccurring thing of like small towns being very eerie and creepy, and the locals are very suspicious of you. It's like it almost seems like it's a ghost town when Annie shows up in there, and there's that dog sitting at the gas station on his own, right? And then everyone. Why does she ask it if he speaks English? I don't know. That's kind of weird. Gotta be funny. Gotta add some comedy to it. Yeah, so like the people are all kind of like suspicious of her in the diner. But then they like point out that there's this like crazy dude, right? They call him the town crazy. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. The trope of like the crazy person that warns you about what's gonna happen is like in every horror movie. And he's always right. Yeah, but it's the town crazy person. Well, like, but they're not though. No, they know what's happening. Well, what I was gonna say is that it's interesting as you watch the movie. The movie kind of does a couple of different things to kind of trick the watcher, right? Because there's the one thing of like, okay, you think that this whole time the killer is a man.
but then you're confused by like the reactions of the people. There's a part where the cop is looking for, I believe his name is Ralph. Was that the name of the town crazy, quote unquote? Is that he went missing and they're looking for him.
So you're like, okay, it's gonna be Ralph.
It's him, yeah.
And then there's a point where the guy opening the camp, Steve, I believe was his name. Mm-hmm. He's gone for like a super long time, and you're like, okay, it's got to be him that's killing everybody.
Yeah, what's his name? Steve Christie.
Yeah, he pretended to leave and just so he could murder everybody. But
right, yeah. So you're kind of like on the edge of your seat of like, who is actually doing all this? Yeah. And so at the end, it's just that much nicer.
At the end, it's revealed that it's a character that has not been on screen at all.
No, out of nowhere. I don't know. She even gives you a little bit of backstory, just like, yeah, I'm this, and I'm friends with this person, and you know, it's all of a sudden. So it's cool. I think the misleading part of it.
Again, having watched this already, I wonder if when it was in theaters, you see the Miss Voorhees character coming to help Alice, and you're like, oh, like I wonder if the audience even suspected her because she's a woman.
Who is this lady?
Yeah, I was like, oh, this lady out of nowhere has come to help, or I wonder if she shows up, and people immediately were like, it has to be her.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, I don't know if it's because she's older. You think like, oh, she's like a nice lady, she's a neighbor, and you don't expect the evil side of it, right? Is that she's gone insane because of her dead son, right? Yeah. And she's held this grudge all of her life.
Again, you don't know that, though.
And you don't.
So.
No, but I'm saying that, like, even that alone, right? Even when you do get that reveal, it's like, oh, what? She's the last person I would have thought. There's all these other people who clearly could have been the killer.
I feel like we jump to the end of the film and completely forget to discuss.
That's okay. See,
okay, but let's get back to the beginning.
Yeah, but it's because things just, like, lead into... It makes parts of the movie later on more interesting. But yeah.
The town crazy dude.
Town crazy.
Warning everybody. And they're just like, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
I wanted to point out when the kids get there, the dude who's running the camp, Steve, is just chopping wood shirtless. And it's like, he doesn't even know that they're the people he hired. He just immediately tells them what to do.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I was going to say that. It's like, he's just like, you're going to just watch, you're going to pick up an axe.
Yeah. He's like, oh, are you the people I hired? Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm this person and you're so-and-so. But it's like...
And he's like creepy immediately too, with Alice.
Yeah, but I'm like, before you get to that, imagine meeting your boss for the first time and he's fucking shirtless chopping wood in booty shorts.
Yeah. He's got a huge stash too.
Yeah.
Which is prominent for the time, but now you see that and you're kind of like,
That's all weird.
Yeah.
But okay. And how did he hire these people that he doesn't even know?
No. Yeah, there's no interview process. You just
They just show up and you tell them what to do.
Yeah, what I wanted to point out too was like how happy-go-lucky the camping scenes are, right? Like you get all these kind of like little... Like, there's a creepy town, there's, like, the crazy guy who's just warning you of, like, you know, death or doom. I think he kept talking about doom being in that direction. And then you get the scene with Annie, I think, like, around this time that, like, the camping scenes are kind of being introduced. People are, like, or the kids are starting to help around. And, like, every scene is almost, like, fun, right? There's the fun music. They're, like, playing games.
Yeah. And again, I've never been to camp.
And yeah, I think that's what it is. What I was going to say is that the music throughout this whole movie, I think is... I went into this thinking like, oh, it's not as iconic as like the Halloween movie where you hear the song and
but
you
it is
the yeah, the heavy breathing part. Yeah, that's iconic for sure.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, even towards the end, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but even the music at the end is like...
Oh my god, yeah, like, I have a thought on that too, but...
Yeah, the music kind of plays a huge role, I think, in, like, setting the vibe for the scenes you're watching, because it could be from, like, murder to, like, just suddenly it's fun, and the music's, like, heartfelt, and, like, you feel good, and you're like, because it's camping, right? You think camping's great, it's fun. Music
I do not think camping's fun. I feel this is propaganda. Well, no, they get murdered in the end, so that sounds just about right.
Yes, camping is fun. Not fun for people who hate camping, though.
I just hate the idea of pooping in the woods.
Yeah.
It's fine for you?
Use leaves. Yeah, just use leaves, you know? Use leaves and just make sure it's not poison ivy. Or you can just take a toilet roll with you. Toilet paper roll.
Why wouldn't that be your first thought? Why is your first thought leaves?
Because maybe you didn't remember to bring toilet paper. Or
is this from experience?
No. Hold on. I'm going to bring up the toilet seat thing you attach to your car.
Oh, no. But that still doesn't make any sense. You're still just pooping on the side of a wheel.
Unless you got your back up against the car, you can't get, like, attacked. So I think maybe that's what's fearful, too, of, like, camping, is that you're pooping out in the woods, you're kind of exposed. Yeah. And you got your back exposed, and you don't know. You know.
And, like, we went, like, kind of camping one time. But it was in a cabin though. It wasn't like full on camping. And the bathrooms were like super far. The cabin was literally just a bed to sleep in and a table to eat at. And we went with friends, and it was to the point where we were all just peeing behind the house because it was too far to go to the bathrooms.
I think we've lost like all of our listeners because we're just talking about poop and pee.
Listen, you need to talk about these things. They're part of life.
No, do you remember if those bathrooms were like the hole in the floor?
It was terrifying. It reminded me of a horror movie. Is it The Blair Witch, where it's just kind of like an abandoned hole in the ground?
Yeah, and they go downstairs and the guy's in the corner.
Yeah, it kind of looked like that.
Ooh, we should do Blair Witch.
Blair Witch is interesting.
It is.
We should.
It's one of the first few, I guess,
well-known. It was one of the first found footage type
well-known
films?
Because you were
other than Cannibal Holocaust, but that's fake. But people thought it was real.
Yeah,
that's all. Cannibal Holocaust.
We'll talk about that.
Trip, man. Yes.
Yeah, the camping, I think, part is that it's funny, right? It's like you think you've got this very good, feel good,
I think
setting.
that's what the director's trying to go for, though. Like, what's funner than camping? And I'm like, literally everything else.
Dying while doing it. We do get our first chase scene through the woods.
Hold on. Did you want to talk about that really creepy scene between Alice and Steve?
Oh, the one I was touching on. Yeah, he's weird. Because what I was thinking when Alice is introduced, I don't remember her being seen in that one scene where they all show up. But she's putting stuff up on the roof. I think she's nailing stuff, and he's just watching her
and being weird.
He's got her sketchbook, and he's you drew. Although I don't know, why was she drawing him? But he implies
they got something going on.
They got something going on, and she's like, "Nah, dude, I just drew." Because he's
no, I think it is because he's like, "Give me another chance," and she's like, "Fine." But it is at first kind of he's just talking to her like that because he is trying to hit on her. But then you find out it seems like they had something going on.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really add anything to the story.
No, it never comes back ever
again. It doesn't come up again.
This is the point, too, that I was it's never implied she's the main character.
Yeah, because you think Annie's the main character, but she dies 20 minutes. Not even 20 minutes. Yeah, just making her way there.
That's what I was about to say, is that the first chase scene is with Annie. You're thinking, well, she's the main character. She's probably just going to survive or make it to the camp and then tell these kids.
And warn everybody.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a really weird scene with Alice and this Steve
It's guy. Another Psycho moment where you think one person's the protagonist and they're killed off immediately. I will note, this film, different than Halloween, actually uses a lot of blood.
Yeah, I pointed out that in my notes that you get this full frontal view of the throat slashing.
Yeah,
and it's just crazy.
One of the first murders. Well, the second one. I think the first ones are the two campers, but it's the focus is the throat slashing scene.
Yeah,
and the splattering blood.
Yeah, and it looks very. I mean, at the time,
pretty good.
Even now,
I would say the effects held up.
Even now, it's very oh. Eesh. Some of the other, we'll touch on the other ones, but some of the other ones are really crazy
they're
too.
Pretty good.
So after that, there's another scene that was kind of controversial to me, was with the snake getting killed.
Why did they have to kill it? First of all, it was very dramatic for these 6 people to try and kill a snake.
They're all flipping beds and throwing things and put the snake. It made me think of was it Cannibal
Holocaust, yes.
Where I think you mentioned
so many animals were actually mutilated,
killed. And it looked like the snake actually is getting killed.
Yeah, I wonder if it was actually killed or if it was a prop.
Because at the time, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'd have to look it up, but the whole no animals were killed in this or hurt in this in the making of this movie.
Oh, that's true. When did that come about?
I don't know. Let's look it up. When was it enforced?
Is it because of Cannibal Holocaust?
Animals in movies. Since 1939, the American Humane Association has monitored the treatment of animal actors on sets of thousands of films, giving most of them its famous seal of approval, stating that no animals were harmed, according to NBC 26. 1939 is so far back.
These movies truly just said, fuck it, I don't care.
Animals harmed in movies. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to find if that snake actually got hurt. Because it looks real. It looks like they cut it and its body is still moving.
Kind of sad.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. So that stood out to me as masked, but more because I was thinking of the Hannibal Holocaust or Cannibal Holocaust.
Hannibal's another thing.
I guess another problematic thing is that right after that, there's also the scene where one thing it's hard to not notice in these movies is the tropes, right? Of the fool, the smart one.
Yeah, the kid that's a jokester or whatever.
That's the quote unquote fool or whatever.
Which Cabin in the Woods makes a complete commentary on.
Yeah, that's why I think
about those tropes. Yeah, the fool, the virgin, the slut.
Yeah,
the athlete.
Was there an athlete in this one?
This one?
Was he the Steve dude? Because he's like the counselor teacher guy?
I don't know. Or would it be Kevin Bacon's character? Because he's manly and was messing with the motorcycle.
Another fun fact, apparently Kevin Bacon wasn't very well known at this point.
I was going to say, was this before Footloose?
Yeah, I don't know. But when I was looking up fun facts, it was saying that like not many people even knew who Kevin Bacon was. So maybe when was Footloose released? Apparently, we don't know a lot about movies. 1984. No, yeah. So Footloose was 1984. This was 1980. So yeah, way before he was ever known for that.
Interesting.
But yeah, so like that kid who's like the jokester or whatever is like wearing some Native American attire. He's like wearing like the headdress, right?
And then the cop comes in and is like calling him Chief.
He's like naming him Chief and like Tonto
immediately is asking them if they're smoking weed, which is like what a joke on a small town cop.
Well, also just the fact that it's like legal now. It's so crazy to think that like at some point. I mean, it was only up until recently, but
it's not legal in all states.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Illinois.
Yeah, here we're
Illinois.
fine.
Woo woo.
Or don't. Stay over there.
It's not funny, no.
It is snowing for like the 10th day in a row here or something like that.
You got anything for me? Kind of going in the order of my notes, so hit me with whatever you got.
Sure. So like there's the scene where they're all just swimming and the dude pretends to drown just to make out with somebody. Again, the prankster.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh yeah, it wasn't.
And it's like, that's an elaborate way to go for a kiss.
You know
Very
what?
Sandlot reminded me of that scene from the Sandlot.
Yeah. Yeah, right before that scene though, there's like the view of the killer is in the woods. Remember? They're all playing in the water.
And the killer's watching them.
The killer's watching, but the girl, from as far as they were, is like,
y'all see something?
y'all see something in the woods? And they show the shot of the tree line, and it's like,
no. This comes from two people that wear glasses, though. So
I don't know, but she, I don't know. The fact that she was like, "You don't see that? I guess it's nothing." It's like, how did you see anything from the far? It's like the sun is setting, and like there's a lot of shade too. So it was, I don't know, it was very unrealistic to me. But then, right after that, we get that scene with the Sandlot making out.
Yeah, the Sandlot making out.
At this point is when they were looking for the town crazy too.
Why is the town crazy just waiting in the pantry for someone to open it so he can pop out? He's like, this is perfect. I will wait here.
And then he runs away once they find him.
And then he's like, I've given my spiel. I'm gonna run away now.
Again, I think his only thing was make people think
he might be the killer. Yeah.
And then it's not. So then you're like, as the watcher, like, what? Who is it, right?
And then we kind of get the scenes where they're like settling in for the night and their hard day's work is over. And Kevin Bacon's character and his girlfriend are having a conversation about the rain being scary and how it's like a shower of blood, she calls it.
Was it her dream? She was talking about it.
Her dream was a shower of blood. And I was just...
And he's like extra chill about it.
He's like, well, this is fine. He just kind of skips over it.
Look, it's actually going to rain.
Yeah.
Is it blood? I don't know. Let's go do it.
Priorities. But I thought that scene was weird too because I thought maybe it was going to allude to the way she was murdered later. Yeah. And it doesn't really.
No.
Unless I missed something.
No, at this point too, the guy who's like the goof or whatever, he's already... Simultaneously,
at that time, he notices someone
getting killed. Yeah.
Yeah, he notices someone in the cabins and goes to look for it. And then that's all you see. And, we were talking about how actually a lot of the characters are killed off screen.
Yeah, they are. And I was thinking maybe it was a thing of like, well, okay, we want to like go all out on certain deaths. And maybe they already had a plan for... Because we'll talk about it in a minute. There's a lot of deaths that come up like right after this, right?
Yeah.
And they went all out on a couple of them, I'd say, right? Like, we'll talk about it in a minute, but the Kevin Bacon one is pretty interesting because it's like, whoa, that's pretty crazy in terms of graphics, right?
I don't know if this applied at the time, but you could only show so much blood before you got an NC-17, which was worse than a rated R. Mm-hmm. It was like it was going to be really hard for anyone to see the movie. So those deaths might have happened off screen to make the movie at least rated R for audiences.
And make just some of the deaths like very
over the top.
That could also be why in Halloween
there's no blood.
Yeah, because I'd say that the murders in this movie were very like intricate and like very well shown, except for the off-screen deaths, obviously. Yeah. But like we see Kevin Bacon and then his girlfriend in the movie is they go to the bedroom. There's the bunk bed, and they're like, "What's his name?" And they're like, whatever.
I was wondering why this like sex scene was like so long and prominent when the other ones were kind of just like suggested.
There's like some and then Kevin Bacon butt cheek grabbing. Like, she grabs his butt cheek. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I did not. I was just like, this is going on for a really long time, and it looks awkward. It looks like they're not actually doing anything, but then it, like, pans upwards slowly, and we see that on top of the bunk bed. The other character is already dead, and they do not notice.
Yeah, honestly, I thought that when it was panning up, you were going to see the killer standing over them. Like, that's what I thought it was doing. And you see the body of the guy, the goofy one. One thing I thought of, though, is, and I don't know if this is accurate, but when someone dies, like, wouldn't you smell it? Like, they didn't
Wouldn't
go
you smell
right
blood?
After. You smell blood, or I think, like, your body, like, releases
It's possible that it's, okay, you know, I was like, it's possible that it's too soon for, like, decay, but you're right, sometimes. Like,
you poop yourself when you die, you know? Like, I don't
Bringing
know if
it back around to poop.
Yeah.
It only took us to this, we actually, like, as a couple, talk a lot about poop. So I'm surprised it took us to our second episode to talk about it.
We had probably like 10 listeners, 9 of them dropped off like the moment we started talking about it, and then the last one just dropped off.
And the one other person who probably has Crohn's disease like me is like, yes, I have found my people.
Yeah, so he, you know, he's in the room and they're like doing it. So I imagine that they would have smelled it, right? Like, realistically.
I don't know. It's camp. There's probably a lot of weird freaking
and that's exactly what I want to, like, logically too, is that it probably just always smells like crap, you know?
When you're camping. You know?
Yeah, you just, like, out in the woods, it's bound to smell like something, and you don't have to explain it, right?
It's true. But we do get to, after they're done with their business, I would say it's pretty cool, pretty well done.
The arrow
Kill scene of Kevin Bacon, just like holding the head, and then an arrow like behind the throat.
Yeah, well, you don't see the hand on the head first. You see the arrow come out of his neck.
Really? I just noticed the hand first, personally. I don't know if I maybe
I
missed
just
that
focus
part.
on the arrow then.
Yeah, but it's like, I was thinking, like, you gotta be pretty freaking strong to be like under a bed and holding someone down in the head and then stick something through a bed.
Which makes the whole, and again, we'll touch on it again later, which makes the whole fight scene at the end with who the actual killer is a lot less, like, believable, because it's like, she, like, did some pretty, like, crazy kills.
She threw a woman through a freaking window.
Yes.
How did she do that?
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, again, going back to the arrow thing, yeah, you're right. Like, she would have had to have been pretty strong because it would have had to go through the mattress and everything, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, by hand, everything.
I was like, that takes some strength to hold a grown man down.
Maybe we'll do like a 2.0 episode of this where we like try to like.
I don't want to test this theory.
Not like get the arrow through the neck part, but just like how much force you'd have to like use to put an arrow through. I think
to stab someone in general, you have to have a lot of force.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're gonna do like horror movie Mythbusters.
Oh my god, it sounds dangerous.
Yeah, so the arrow scene is pretty cool. I think it's like I liked it probably as one of the like the best ones of the whole movie.
One of the best kills.
Yeah. Right after that too, we get the girl, the girlfriend. She also she like goes to the bathroom, is like cleaning up, whatever. I think she was on the toilet.
No, she was washing up already, but she went to go like check something.
She was in one of the stalls, though.
I thought it was the showers, but I could be like she was checking something behind one of the showers or stalls, and she turns around and
immediate hatchet to the face.
Yeah, like honestly, her face is like she's already resigned to her fate. Like she did not try to fight; she just was like embraces for it almost. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, fuck.
And another pretty good like kill scene.
Yeah.
Where, like, it's just
not expecting.
No, not like that. I mean, you always expect like throat slash, or I mean, the Kevin Bacon arrow through the neck is kind of like random. Also, like you don't really expect that, but like a hatchet straight to the face. At least at this time, where like in Michael, I think in Halloween, like the kills were kind of like tame
compared to this one, for sure.
So like hatchet to the face, I think was very like, whoa, that's a pretty crazy scene, right?
I want to touch on that while all these people are getting murdered, these other 3 teenagers, young adults, are playing strip Monopoly.
Yeah, you asked, how do you do
How the fuck do you do that? How do you execute that?
Yeah, again, the whole thing of like when it's
I also would argue that it doesn't make it more fun.
No, there was a scene where they were like, okay, well, you lost, time to take off your top. I didn't even
You lost money, yeah.
I didn't even catch how she had to, right? Because they were all still pretty clothed, and then the one friend's like, hey, bye, guys.
And she's like literally in her bra and underwear by the end.
Yeah, she's like, I was waiting to see where this all ended up.
Gotta go,
like, clearly you're losing. Okay? You weren't going to see anything. We were going to see you.
Oh, no. That's why she quit.
But yeah, just again going back to like that, these murders are happening, and then the moment it went back to camp scenes, it was like fun music and the vibe is cool and whatever, right? I think it's just interesting that it just flip flopped like that, and it was like camping is fun though. Don't forget that.
Don't forget that at the end of the day, you want to go camping.
Yeah. But yeah, the one friend does leave the strip Monopoly,
and then she's like getting ready for bed, and she hears like a voice, which pegs the question for me: would you go help a strange voice in the rain? Maybe I'm an asshole, but I wouldn't do that. But like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait there. I'm gonna call 911. You know, you're just gonna have to wait there, though.
Well, I like
it's raining.
The killer waited until she was all tucked into bed reading a book.
The bitch waited till she got comfortable.
I'd be upset. Like, it's like when Loki has to go to the bathroom and it's 8:30. Like,
and you're already cozy inside your
already showered. I'm wearing my pajamas.
Could you at least murder me before I had to do my nighttime routine?
Yeah. Got lotion on my face. No, man. I'm ready for...
I already did my skincare. You're letting it all go to waste.
Yeah, you hear like, I guess, again, right? Under the assumption that the killer is a man, you hear, like, a girl voice calling out for help. And you've already seen all the girls die. Other than,
except
like, Alice and her.
Yeah.
So you're like, who's the girl that's calling out for help?
How is the killer making a childlike girl voice, you know?
Yeah. To be fair, I, again, had forgotten...
To be fair.
Yeah, to be fair. I'd forgotten, again, that Jason Voorhees wasn't the killer in this movie, right?
At that point,
it was a moment.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, how did he make that? How did he fake the girl voice? And Vivi had to wake me up and be like, no, don't you remember? And I was like, oh, yeah. That's right. So it made more sense. But, like, again, as a watcher who... You know, I guess in the moment, I was a watcher who didn't know that. And I was like, how did he do that, right? And so you're still confused at this point. Who even is the killer? And what are they doing? Because to think it's a man and they're making like a girl's voice, you're like, I've already seen all the girl
characters die pretty much.
Yeah, who is this person, right?
Brenda's character, though, her death was interesting because I think it's the only one that was kind of alluded to in the beginning, where the dude like not kills her, but throws an arrow right when she's setting up the arrow markers.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, ha ha ha, it's funny. And that's where she gets killed. So it's like the killer was watching them the whole time and thought it was funny to kill her where she like was scared and thought she was gonna die.
Yeah, that part though is interesting because like later you find out that a different character is killed with arrows like that
as well.
Because she's not right when her body
it's just
is thrown,
the spot. Well, it's not. She's an off-screen death. Like
she's an off-screen death, and the lights are flashed on her, and she's like confused. And it's just like you just hear her scream, and like the lightning and rain is going on, and then we get back to where Alice and the other kid are.
Billy, I think.
Yeah, but she's not even the one who dies by arrows. He does. And when Alice is running around...
he's the one that shoots the arrow at her in the beginning, right? To
so
like
maybe
fake her out.
Yeah.
The killer was maybe like, you think that's funny? I'm going to kill you with arrows.
And I'm going to pretend to kill her with arrows.
But not really, though.
Yeah.
I was noticing, this is weird, once Billy and Alice are like, yo, where is everybody? I heard someone scream. Let's go investigate. They find the hatchet tucked into bed.
Yeah, was it the killer saying said a bedtime story for it? It was all, it was just like laying nicely in the center. And
and they pull back the covers and it's bloody and it's right there and it's like I personally would have missed that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be looking for that.
No, I don't even know why they did that.
It's like, look, it's sleeping. Shh, you know.
And I think it's you said I think it's the hatchet that was used to kill the girl from earlier with the face, the hatchet to the face.
I think Marcy was that character.
Yeah.
So at this point, Steve is like kind of on his way back to the camp because the kids are like, what do? We can't call anybody. Steve's on his way. He'll figure it out. Because at this point...
That random cop picks him up to help him because he like gets stuck. I don't even know why it suddenly just goes back to Steve and it's like he's making his way back.
Because you think he's gonna either A, be the killer or B, get there and help in the nick of time like a lot of horror movies do.
I don't know. The whole portion of Steve, I didn't even write notes down for him because I was like, he just shows up and dies.
He does, right? So that's like the anticlimactic thing. He gets there and he's like, oh, hey, what are you doing here?
Again, innocent reaction to the killer.
Yeah, and then he's like, immediately offed.
One thing I wanted to point out, though, I guess that was noticeable to me. And I don't know if this is because I know about cars, but the guy drives a Jeep, and the cops making fun of him because he's like, "How are you stuck in the mud? Doesn't that thing aren't you able to get through anything in that thing?" And he's like, "Not while pulling the trailer."
Oh no, I don't.
I was like, "What's in the Jeep?" I was like, "I'm assuming he's thinking because of the tires or whatever." But I was like, weird jab at the guy, but sure.
Director really hated Jeeps here and just wanted to get that jab in. So you're thinking he's coming to help. Turns out, no, useless.
Yeah.
And then Alice and Billy kind of are just like, what's going on? They go into the cabin again, and Billy has to go turn on the generator or something like that. And
another off-screen death.
He's killed off-screen again. Then
scare the main girl and mess with her by throwing dead friends at her. That's what I wrote down. Oh, well, yeah, so I guess, I don't even remember how Alice realizes, oh, well, that's what it was. She waited for him. Then suddenly she's, like, walking around the place and then, like, starts finding dead bodies, because it's almost like when, in Halloween, Laurie goes upstairs and, like, the friends are suddenly showing up dead. And she opens the door, and Billy's, like, on the door with arrows in him. That's the first one.
She wants to go look for him, and that's literally the first hint, almost towards the end of the movie, that people are being killed off.
Yeah, she didn't know this at all.
She didn't freaking know.
I mean, none of them did, I don't think. At all the points where anyone died, no one knew that people were being killed off. So this whole time, everyone's getting picked off one by one without anyone else noticing.
And no one's like, where? I mean, Billy and Alice kind of were like, where's everybody? We can't find anybody. We're not obviously assuming they're dead right away. And then she finds Billy.
Yeah. I did want to point out, I guess, with the topic of, like, them not noticing that the others are gone, and it's because it's just, like, there's only a few of them.
Yeah.
And it's nighttime, right?
Yeah.
And, like, you're just assuming they're probably at their bed or whatever. But I did want to point out that it was eerie to be on a campsite where, like, there's no, like, bustle of activity of kids and, like, other concerts. It's like they're reopening, so this place is not, like...
There's no actual kids
at
there,
capacity. There's no kids. Like, it's this wide open space of, like, cabins and whatever, and it's really just you guys.
It's like, the group of the 6 kids, I think it is.
Yeah, so that brings, I guess, a creepy aspect to the scenes where they're kind of walking through the different buildings, and it's just them, and, you know, like, even when who was her name? The one with the hatchet to the face.
Marcy?
Marcy, yeah, she's walking in those bathrooms by herself.
Oh my god, that's why it reminded me of when we went camping, and the bathrooms were too far, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
Not doing that.
Yeah, and these kids are just kind of like,
it's fine.
Whatever, there's nothing creepy about this. But I think if you're, like, as a person who's,
spoken
like,
as true
around,
city people, that's creepy.
Yeah, you're just walking around, and you're like, this is weird. I'm just going to try to hurry up and get out of here.
So she finds her first dead body, and she runs back into the cabin and has the show of a lifetime barricading the front door. She's literally throwing furniture that is like, either she is like massively strong as well. She's like throwing chairs at this door, like
ties a rope from the ceiling to the doorknob.
Which is like, my brain would not immediately think, let's tie a rope to the ceiling. That'll stop the door.
I think what was funnier is that she's like throwing just all this furniture at the door, but there's these like giant windows.
That are open, and you know what? The killer thought of that too, because she goes into like the kitchen area, and then suddenly Brenda comes flying through the window.
Yeah, with rope on her, not
completely dead, and she's like, ah!
And then she tries to run out,
and she's like, who put all this shit here? Is the joke that you made?
Oh my god, I need to get out of here. Who put all this furniture by the door? Jesus Christ.
Honestly, you waste like 2 minutes watching her put all this furniture here for nothing.
Yeah, it's she needs to watch, what's the, Tidying Up with Marie Kondo?
Yes.
She's going to be taught how to, like, perfectly put things in front of a door and then take it away.
Oh my god, what is the Marie Kondo show called? The Joy of Cleaning, The Joy of Tidying Up or something. No, and then, so we finally see her run out the door and run into Miss
Voorhees.
Yeah.
Which is, what's her name? Betsy Palmer's character.
Betsy Palmer. Yeah. So, at this point, again, I wonder if audiences seeing it from the first time are like, oh my god, help has come, or immediately knew she was the killer.
Yeah, I guess at this point, when everyone's dead and the only new introduction of a character is this person, you maybe are hesitant.
Because she's a woman?
Because she's a woman and she's older, right?
Yeah.
You're thinking like...
It's a motherly character.
But she's suspicious. Yeah.
And she's like, very adamant about going to see the dead bodies herself.
She gives the whole background story first, though, about like, oh, I'm friends with the owners. Yeah, she says that outside.
Yeah, she says she's friends with the owners and she used to work for them, which is true. And then she goes in and finds Brenda and is like, oh, how
she's
sad.
So young.
Which is obviously how you act when you see a dead body, right? Mm. You're just like, oh, how sad.
Wow, she was so young. She had her whole life ahead of her.
Yeah. And Alice is obviously creeped out.
Yeah.
She's like, what the hell?
Well, because that's when this Miss Voorhees turns around and kind of like flips the script and is like,
goes into her backstory.
She goes into her backstory, but then immediately turns into like, you killed my son. It was you who did it. And I'm like, what? Way to just assume everyone is the same person, man.
Yeah, I think it implies that she's like she's
gone insane.
Gone crazy. But yeah, this is where you finally learn she was the one that killed the original 2 campers. Because she's mad that nobody was watching her son.
She can punch arrows through mattresses.
It's an important skill to have.
But it has like a whole 10, 15-minute fight with Alice. Just getting smacked, getting thrown around. There's one scene where she, I think, hits her with the butt of the knife that she has because she's got that giant
hatchet type thing.
No, was it a hatchet yet? No, they pulled the hatchet out later. But she had that giant knife.
She did have a knife just
on
strapped
her dress.
to her.
Yeah.
And then that scene happens kind of like you were talking about in Halloween, where she like is trying to run away from her. Goes into the car, sees Annie, who people have completely forgotten about at this point.
Yeah.
Keeps running and sees Steve like hanging from a post somewhere.
I like how the body just like falls up.
Yeah,
no, he was on a tree.
Conveniently.
He just like goes boop boop.
And I thought the same thing. I'm like, was it a trope in horror movies that the dead bodies just show up at the end like a lame haunted house that you go to?
Snow White running through the forest and it's like all the things are scary.
And she's like, ah! Yeah. Yes. I like how you brought it to a Disney movie when it's not like that at all. She did not see dead bodies.
It was scary enough for them to have to change the park. So, maybe horror
Did they have dead bodies in them?
Might as well have.
Could have been worse. But yeah, she's running away at this point. Again, we get like the super long fight scene. And I think what like ultimately makes Mrs. Voorhees' character more scary is the way she portrays that she's like completely disassociated from reality and is using like her son's voice in her own head.
Oh yeah.
That to me was like, that's scary.
Yeah, there's a scene that I wrote down about that because they run out. They finally get outside the house. Alice runs away and then Miss Voorhees is chasing her. And she kind of does that thing of like, I'm going to hide behind a rock and then Miss Voorhees is going to run past and then I can just kind of hide it back out and go run back to the building for some reason.
Yeah.
And she does that. But the whole time, Ms. Voorhees' character is yelling like, kill her, kill her, kill her, kill her, mommy.
Kill her, mommy. Yeah, it's like
mommy. And that's
unsettling.
Creepy. Yeah, because she like genuinely is thinking this, right? She almost like splits, we were talking about this, like split personality. She's herself and then also Jason in her mind.
Because she can't cope with the loss, which is like, I think what's like crazy about horror movies is
it can happen.
At the end of the day, that's the scary part. Like the dead bodies and all that, but like loss is the scary part.
Yeah. Someone could actually do that. Like,
yeah. But we, again, get this long scene of them fighting each other. And I completely forgot how it ended, how the fight ended. Yeah, I remember that Annie eventually ends up on the lake herself, but I forgot how. I thought, honestly, she just knocked out Mrs. Voorhees and went out there. But, like, something's going to go down.
When it's slow-mo.
Because it starts going in slow-mo. And you're like, oh, okay, she's finally going to kill Mrs. Voorhees. Decapitation scene out of nowhere.
Yeah, in slow motion.
In slow motion. My favorite part are her hands slowly closing like, oh no, I've lost. And it's like unsettling as well.
Her face is just like, ah!
Oh no!
Yeah. Because she does do like, it's almost like an emoji. Her face just goes, ah! Yells in Spanish,
Yes, in Spanish. I completely forgot that scene happened.
Yeah.
It's almost like shocking to watch again.
Yeah, and I like how before the death scene though, I like the thought that in all these horror movies you get the protagonist that is a woman, right? Not a guy.
The final girl.
And they can defend themselves. I don't think we really talked too much about it in Halloween, but like even Laurie's character in this
she's
one,
super
Alice,
resourceful.
They can just like defend themselves, unlike all the other characters up to this point, right? And it's cool. I don't know. I think it's interesting to see a villain, or I guess a killer, who is also a woman fighting a protagonist that is also a woman. And you've got two situations that I guess you wouldn't imagine that in real life, right? You're always thinking like the killer is a man.
Yeah.
It's always a man who's like doing these things. And unlike other genres, it's usually a man who's like saving the day and like whatever, right? And in these, it's kind of like, no, it's cool to see like women saving the day.
Like it came down to the two of them.
Day.
Yeah.
Everyone's dead, but
but isn't it also interesting that it's always the girl that's the virgin?
Yeah.
Or the most virginal.
Right, because in this one it's not really implied that she's a virgin
But it is
all.
because they're like when they're playing even the strip Monopoly, she's about to take off her shirt. Something happens.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like the virtuous character, the virtuous girl, is always the final winner, which changes later on.
Yeah. I think it becomes difficult to try to make the same tropes happen for all movies
and make it new. Yeah.
But yeah, we get the machete to the neck, and then like the head just rolls off, and that's crazy. You get the view of like the neck bone, just like some bone in
the
there.
hands, and then my favorite thing is she's like, "Huh, I just killed a person. Let me roll out into this lake. Let me contemplate what I just did here."
She did kind of smile. I don't know if you noticed. She's like looks at the dead body, and she kind of like does the mouth like
twitch up.
Yeah.
I don't think I was more like, why is she suddenly interested in rolling out into this lake?
Yeah. It wouldn't be my immediate thought is like, I just killed somebody. I got to go into the lake and just pass out on the boat. Although I guess no. So maybe the thought is
she's in shock.
Safest out on the water because she can't be reached again. If like she's not alone, right? You don't know.
Yeah.
I guess you're in survival mode. You're like, she could be with somebody else.
That's
and
true,
if I like stay here, I could get caught by somebody, and at least if I'm on the water, somebody would have to also get on the boat to go get me.
Yeah.
Or swim there, and I'd hear them, right?
True,
So that's why.
I guess.
Maybe.
Fair point.
This is bringing logic to it, right?
Well, she's out there on the lake till morning. She's killed this woman at night, and then the next scene it's like morning, and you see the cops rolling up.
And the music's amazing.
Oh my god, that song! It reminds me of this Mexican song. It's like in every like 80s parents' wedding video.
Oh yeah.
Do you know the song I'm talking about?
The dun dun dun. No, that's quinceañeras.
No. It kind of does sound like that too, but it's so like happy.
Yeah, it's like so feel good. You're like, the day is saved. There's a sunrise. The cops are in the distance, and it's like ooh.
Almost distracting.
The water is like being emphasized. It's like you see the ripples,
super pretty,
and it's like really nice.
And the cops are getting there, and she sees them and like smiles, and then Jason comes up.
Boom, boom! The music just changes
drastically.
Yeah.
Great plot twist, great jump scare.
Yeah.
But can you imagine being the cops and seeing that? Like, oh shit, what do we do?
Well, she's out in the water. We can't really do much from here.
It's out of our jurisdiction.
She messed up when she decided to go into the water.
And then she just wakes up in the hospital.
Yeah, it flips it. It almost makes you think that
it didn't happen.
Yeah.
She's like traumatized. And
because she's like, "Where's the boy?"
Yeah, and then like
also she's too chill, being about like, "Where's the boy at?" Like,
well, they sedated her.
Okay, but she's like, "Where's the little kid?" Like, no.
But then the scene makes you think again that it almost didn't happen. It was like her imagination or something. And then the cop's like, "There was no kid," and then she's like, "Then he's still out there," obviously leaving it open for 10 million movies that come later.
Yeah.
And he's still out there.
Maybe another one will come out.
My issue here is, lady, there is like a lot of dead bodies, and you are the only survivor right now. You are looking mighty suspicious.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm worried about other things.
I don't think I remember the second one, but when I was looking up fun facts, apparently she returns for the second one, but has like a very limited role.
Really, I don't remember the second. I didn't watch.
Yeah, we'll have
any
to watch
of the
it
other
eventually
ones.
and do our report on this. But, but from what I quickly saw, it sounds like she did it on purpose. Like she didn't want to make Alice's character like go beyond that. She survived Jason Voorhees or survived the killer of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Right. So pretty cool. Another thing I want to point out is that Jason's birthday is Friday the 13th.
Yes, that's where you get the title of the movie. I wrote that down too, and it's like, huh.
Full moon. The one character at the beginning is like, it's Friday the 13th.
It's the cop that pulls him over, and he's like, "There's gonna be more murder. It's gonna be more rape. There's gonna be more like break-ins." Yeah, it's like, okay, man, we get it. It's a bad day.
In this small town where nobody's like anywhere except for the diner.
Yeah, it's all gonna happen in the diner.
Yeah, no,
it's rather
that just made me think of the Gremlins right away. The diner where they're all just
like, in the bar. The Gremlins is funny because watching it now, you think it's not a horror movie, but at the time it was a horror movie.
It's a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie. It's a feel good.
It's like the Minions, but they kill.
Yeah, I think the Minions killed the Millions.
The Millions. Yeah, because the Minions kill too, but it's like funny.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like it's cartoony kills.
We'll get to the Gremlins probably on another episode.
And the Minions.
And the Minions, because those fuckers are scary.
Yeah.
But what would you rate this movie?
Did we do it out of 10 last time?
We did.
Okay. I would rate it. Let's see. I pulled up IMDb, and I guess we'll compare our
ratings to
like
other people's opinions.
The world said, yeah. So I would give it. I already glance at the number. I'm not gonna let it change my opinion.
Okay, can I go first then?
Yeah.
I would give it a 7.5.
Okay.
Just because it kind of has a really slow start, but the end, man, ramps up quickly.
I'd give it a 7 or 7.5 too, because again, like I think the way that it like tricks the viewer to like think so many different things about who the killer is, and at the end it's like a twist.
Mm-hmm.
That's unique, I think, for like horror movies. Usually you think it's just a guy who's killing people and he's got a motive and whatever. You think it's a guy, too, is the other thing, right? And I think the fact that it plays around with a couple of those things makes it fun. I think it puts it on the other side of the 10, right? Is that it's higher, I think, in the scale. 7.5, yeah.
What did IMDb give it?
6.5. Those people don't know what they're talking about. It's fine. You know, I think it stands up. Do you think it stands up? Like,
it's pretty good, especially the effects.
Yeah.
I think stand up.
Yeah, I mean,
the mustaches and the booty shorts, I would say, might not hold up.
It gives me what's that one movie with Amy Poehler and all those?
Oh, Red Hot American Summer or something like that. Yeah, maybe that movie's like a joke on all these horror movies.
Yeah, except without the murder.
I don't know. I didn't finish that movie. There might be
murder.
The
remake or like the follow up.
Yeah, it's like years later.
Reunion or whatever they did. Yeah, but I would say that Tom Savini's work too. Like I don't know if he started with this.
I don't
but I know
think
they became legendary at this point too. His work continued to be known. I think he has his own even like prosthetic company. Yeah. So like I mean if it was one of his first few, if not his first like well known work, I see why those scenes
holds up. I think that pretty much wraps up our thoughts on this one.
Yeah. All right, so do you want to talk about what scared Loki this week?
Well, he didn't get that scared watching the movie this time. He was just intrigued by the cricket noises in the camp.
He did the little
head tilts. Yeah. I'm surprised. Usually when he sees another dog on screen, he barks, but he didn't bark at that.
He just stared at the dog.
Yeah. But the crickets, man, they really got to them.
But he was definitely like, what is that? Again, we're in Illinois. It's been like under 0 degrees
for like the last 2 weeks at least.
It's snowing right now. I'm sure he's like, crickets, I haven't heard those in ages.
What's the outside like?
Yeah.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves here. And we'll just talk to you next time.
Yeah, check out the movie. Talk to you next week. We got Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. So stay tuned.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
I think that was better.
Hey, Loki. You didn't really have anything to say about Friday the 13th this time, did you? I guess not. Thank you.